Former Aviation Minister Fani Kayode has described Peter Obi's supporters as dangerous. The followers of the Labour Party LP presidential candidate are known as Obi'S. In an essay titled "Who are these Obi'S?", Fani Kayode said he's interested in knowing what they represent and stand for. The former presidential aide noted that their rise and relevance in Nigeria's politics within a few weeks is meteoric and phenomenal. Fani Kayode said the followers of other 2023 flag bearers need to understand them and find how their minds work in order to defeat them next year. The author warned that it will be at the peril of the All Progressive Congress APC and the People's Democratic Party PDP to ignore the obedience. The truth is that they are far more dangerous to our collective cause as a ruling class than many of us can possibly conceive or appreciate. Only the discerning can appreciate this and know precisely where this whole thing may be heading. They may not have structures or representatives in the legislative and executive arms, but they have ideas and visions, Fani Kayode added. His essay reads in part: "Let me make this clear from the outset. I'm a member of the APC and a supporter of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. This contribution does not in any way derogate from that, and my analysis is more of an academic and intellectual exercise than anything else. I'm not a supporter of Peter Obi, and I have no intention of becoming one. I'm, however, interested in what his supporters represent and stand for. That is the subject of this essay. They are worthy of my attention only because their rise and relevance in the political configuration of our nation, just in a matter of weeks, is meteoric and phenomenal. In order to counter and defeat them, or to keep them in their place, we must at least attempt to understand them and figure out how their mind works. The following are my findings. Those that are the supporters of Peter Obi, the Labour Party presidential candidate, are known as obedience, and they are everywhere. Those of us in the larger political parties like the ruling APC and the opposition's PDP treat them with contempt and ignore them at our own peril. The truth is that they are far more dangerous to our collective cause as a ruling class than many of us can possibly conceive or appreciate. Only the discerning can appreciate this and know precisely where this whole thing may be heading. They may not have structures or elected representatives in the legislative and executive arms of government, but they have ideas and vision, coupled with a clear ideological and physiological bent, which can and will endure for far longer than mere political platforms and structures. Unknown to them as well are virtually everywhere else. Therein lies their power. As they say, an idea whose time has come cannot be stopped. Long after we are all gone, they will still be here because structures and political alliances rarely endure, but ideas and vision last forever. Again, they will outlive and outlast us all because they are not a political party in the true sense of the word, but rather a growing nation movement which scales and spreads across ethnic, religious, political, and regional lines and traditional boundaries. They are also present in a generational and paradigm shift, which is increasingly attractive to many, and they are bound tightly together by a common purpose, common cause, and common objective, namely to rid Nigeria of the old order and usher in the new. This is really what they want to do, and that is the primary and strongest source of their inspiration and motivation. They are far more dangerous to what the French describe as the Asian regime, the old political class, and the entire system itself than anything we have ever seen before because most of them, bar their leader and a small handful of political tried and tested veterans and old war horses around him, are not politicians and have never ventured anywhere near the political arena or the circles of power. In the main, they are innovatively aggressive and frightful array, an association of angry and determined young men and women who clearly have the courage of their convictions, coupled with the audacity, fury, daring, range, and firm resolve of those that were involved in the NSAS protests and the Fury foot soldiers that effected the 1917 Russia Bolshevik Revolution led by Vladimir Ilyich Lenin. There's also something rolling skew and intimidating about them. That is to say that they are like the late great and mighty son of African leader of Ghana, President Jerry Rawlings, who also led a successful revolution in his country in 1979 and who on his second coming in 1981 when he toppled yet another government said, if there is no justice, there can be no peace. This is the spirit that is in the obedience. And that is what moves them. Yet, though they do not like to hear it, their chances of winning the presidential election next year, short of a miracle, are very slim, and deep down they all know it, even if they refuse to publicly acknowledge it. Despite that, they are determined to fight to the end, hope for the best, work hard, and give it their best shot. And of course, therein lies their victory. In this game, courage is the key. As they say, he who dares wins. Again, as they say, fortune favors the bold. And these young people are both daring and bold. That they can challenge the status quo and vie for the sacred and awesome power that has been shared by the two major political parties of their ancestral variants over the last 62 years is commendable in itself. I'm not part of them, but I certainly commend and applaud their efforts. They too have a right to fight for their rights and future to be heard. They too have a dream and a story to tell, and we must never begrudge them that. Yet, if truth be told, they are not only interested in winning an election, but perhaps even more importantly, they are interested in making a profound and defiant statement, registering their protest against the status quo and the powers that be, and triggering and engendering a full scale, comprehensive, and all embracing social, cultural, and political revolution. They want a real and fundamental change and not a fake one. They want to pull the whole house and system down with everyone in it and rebuild a new one in their own image, with their own values and on their own terms. Most important of all, they want to see the backs of those of us that are in any way associated with the other or that have been in government or the corridors of power at any point in time over the last 62 years. That desire and sentiment is the force that is driving and propelling them, and that is kindling their fire and swelling their ranks. The sooner those of us that are in the larger political parties get off our high horses, display a little humility, try and understand their mindset, reach out to them, take them more seriously, appreciate their anger, restore their hope, make the necessary concession, and try and abate their rage and rising anger, the better it will be for us all. They may not have today, but if we do not play our cards right, they may end up having tomorrow. May God help us all. Femi Fani Kayode.